Hello there. Aki had a great question for me about how, as a youth, you can be still respectful of your parents and their overall advice and direction, at the same time still pursue your dreams. So this one has to be walked upon delicately because you want to be able to respect the advice, the opinions, the thought, the sacrifice of what your parents have done for you. At the same time, you want to be able to make sure that you're living the life that you see and fully leveraging the skill set and the strengths that you see for yourself, which for a lot of people can be very difficult. They might not necessarily know where their strengths are, and helping maybe your parents even understand where failures and success play a role, that you need to have both in order to start moving your career in a way that's meaningful and that can not only bring you happiness, but overall success from a monetary and from a career and happiness standpoint. So one of the things that I would encourage you to think about, number one, is where are you placing happiness, right? So as a young person, are you putting happiness on stuff? And if the answer is yes, then you want to look at how can you reframe your mind. So one of the things that people start doing is they literally will write down in a journal or write down on Post-it notes, they'll write down in a note things that they're grateful for on a daily basis, and you can't repeat what you wrote the day before. So think about it. For 30 days, if you were to write down 3 things, so a total of 30 times 3, 90 things that you're totally grateful for, but none of them are repeated. And I think that'll start helping somebody change their mindset, change their point of view from finding happiness or satisfaction or gratitude from stuff that they see or stuff that they have. These are going to be things that mean the most to them. And it could be as simple as, 15 days in, you might be walking around, you see somebody in a wheelchair and you're grateful that you have legs, right? You go to the gym and you realize that there's somebody there working out that can't hear and you're grateful for hearing, right? It's those things that we have in our lives that are truly meaningful, but sometimes we take for granted because they've always been with us. The other thing that you can be able to make sure that you do is, in regards to having conversations with parents where you have conflicting views, is have a conversation. And so helping understand that, number one, is it's not your job to persuade your parents to see things your way. What you're trying to do is help them to be able to understand that it's okay for you, even if you fail, to have a go at something, to have a try at something, to at least make an effort towards something, and help them understand that failure doesn't reflect poorly on them and their sacrifice. Your idea of maybe starting your own business, your idea of no longer going into family business, your idea of doing something that they don't necessarily see as a potential is trying to go after what you feel is the open space, is an opportunity for you to grow and develop, and that's going to be extremely critical. So here's one of the things that I would say when it comes to communication that makes it very difficult for parents and children is, number one, is children, you want your parents to have to agree with you. Understand that you're going to disagree on your opinions, but that's okay because you might still find a happy medium. And so we'll use the word compromise, but we don't mean it in a negative way. So for example, you decide that you want to go to college to pursue a career in business, where your parents want you to follow a career in medical, right? To become a doctor. And you tell them that you don't like science. And they tell you, but they don't see the value of business. Now, if you were to tell them, you know what, well, I've been talking with business owners. Here's the different businesses that I think I could get a job with: Google, Amazon, sorry, I don't know any telecommunication businesses there, the energy business, maybe think of the different businesses that exist in your neck of the woods and input the name. Have you talked to some of those employees? Have you talked to some of the people that are, managers? Can you get yourself an internship to try out the career and see if you like it while you're still in high school, while you're still, just beginning your career? The other thing that you might find as you're talking it over with them, express to them what you feel are your strengths. And if they can give you input on what you think your strengths are, not what they think that not what they think you should be doing as much as it is what they think that you are good at. So are you a big picture person, or do you like the small details? Are you analytical, or do you think more in a macro sense? Are you have a great attention to detail, or are you more of a caring personality? You're more of a giver. You're more ideally set for something in the health arena. Do you have any particular areas that you like to learn about versus others? And so as you're having a conversation with them, they might have really good insight. There's probably not another human being that knows you as well as your parents. There just isn't, because they've raised you from when you were super young. They knew what you liked when you were 2 years old. You probably have no recollection of that. They knew what you were devoutly passionate about at 6 years old, at 5 years old, before you even started getting into school. And so you might have forgotten that you have these different skills or these different passions, these different interests. And so they might help you understand that, you know what, business isn't really where you should be going. You should be trying to getting a job in sales and marketing. And all of a sudden, you now have come to a compromise. It wasn't their idea of medical, it wasn't your idea of business, but it was the togethered idea of moving forward, right? So it's that phrase, 2 heads are better than one, so true. The problem is when it comes to communication, people want to line up and they want to push their own agenda, and they don't actually listen. So when you're communicating with them, remember, 2 ears, 1 mouth, using that ratio. Sometimes it's always easier for you to ask them for your opinions and to take all their opinions and use it like the Cinderella method. If you remember that old movie, Cinderella, the prince finds her shoe. He then goes across the town, finds out who fits into this glass shoe, and guess what? Only Cinderella does. That's how I take feedback. That's how I take other people's opinions. If the shoe fits, then wear it. If it doesn't, then just listen, because it's coming from a good place. They want you to be better, but then just let it go out the other ear. So as you think about what you can be doing there to be able to have that communication, it's as easy as you might want to even set up the chairs, right? So if you have opposing views, you don't want to be sitting directly across from someone. You want to be diagonal, right? So if you're sitting at the table, have dad or mom sit at the end, and then you sit on the side. So that way you're sitting diagonally from each other, and that way when your opinion comes out, it won't come across direct to them and maybe even offend them. The other thing that you want to just come from is that, remember, you want to do what's best for you. Your parents still wants best for you as well. And so if you can come from that understanding that, hey, both of us want the best from me, and this is what I see for me as an opportunity. The other thing that I would say from a standpoint of open opportunities right now, leadership and dealing with people. Those are going to be huge areas of expertise, as a lot of these big businesses there in India have a lot of growth and a lot of people that they're dealing with in order to help them grow and get bigger, right? Organizations are always built on people. And so you want to be able to make sure that you're good at communicating with people, you're good at negotiating, you're good at persuading others, and you're good at listening. And finally, I'd say leadership. I think that's a huge hotbed of an area that's really be fully tapped into probably in the next 5 to 10 years in India, really starting to see leadership companies, thought companies that are thinking about human development, personal development, really starting to take the stage there in that country. So hopefully this is helpful for you, Aki, and I appreciate your feedback. Have a fantastic day. Sherm's out.